You never meet anyone by chance. Whatever you feel, carry, or leave unresolved draws the encounters you experience. This isn't coincidence. It's the law of resonance at work. You attract what aligns with your inner state, whether you realize it or not. Even the most challenging relationships carry messages the ego doesn't want to see but the soul needs to hear. Carl Jung believed the most important encounters are arranged by the soul long before bodies meet. So what do your relationships reveal about you? In this video, you'll understand why certain bonds form, why certain patterns repeat, and how encounters that seem coincidental are actually deep reflections of your own soul. We've all experienced something like this. You're living your life normally when suddenly someone appears. Eye contact in a cafe, a conversation on the subway, a message sent by mistake, and nothing is ever the same again. It feels like coincidence, but it isn't. Encounters that change the course of your life have no obvious logic. They don't follow plans, algorithms, or control. They carry a different feeling, as if they were already written. Even without conscious intent, that presence is drawn close, as if an invisible thread connects the lives of two people in separate worlds. Jung said that those who are unaware of the power of the unconscious mind consider everything that happens to them to be fate. He believed that the people who enter our lives are not accidents but messengers, mirrors, even spiritual contracts signed before we knew life. Modern society tends to reduce many experiences to chance or randomness. When we encounter someone who changes our lives, most people call it fate, but very few question the deeper meaning of the experience. Jung believed people enter our lives not by accident, but guided by a hidden order within the unconscious. This challenges a basic assumption of modern thought, that events are disconnected and the people we meet are random. Jung argued that this worldview cuts us off from the powerful influences of the unconscious. Instead, he saw human experiences, including seemingly random encounters, as manifestations of a meaningful alignment. He called this synchronicity. Synchronicity was a subject to which Jung devoted much of his life. What we might dismiss as mere coincidences often reveal a hidden harmony between the unconscious and the universe. These are events that are not causally connected yet carry deep personal meaning. When you meet someone and it feels like a fateful encounter, Jung believed it is your unconscious externalizing your inner state. Such encounters are messages from the psyche trying to move you toward transformation. Life's accidents are not truly accidents. Jung's clinical work was full of coincidences that triggered healing processes in his patients. One of the best-known examples is the patient who described seeing a golden beetle in her dream, and at that very moment, a rare gold-colored bug tapped against Jung's office window. It was bizarre, but it became a turning point in her therapy, bypassing rigid rationalism and opening her to the symbolic nature of reality. For Jung, this was neither magic nor mysticism. It was the meeting of the self with reality. The inner self does not merely exist, it actively shapes the way we experience the world. When inner conflicts or desires reach a threshold, the unconscious often speaks through people. These figures are not filler characters. They are symbolic agents in your process of becoming an individual. They might be a stranger who changes your mindset or a partner who confronts you with your wounds. Such figures emerge when the unconscious is ready to reveal something deeper. The inner self does not seek comfort, it seeks wholeness. Jung never claimed that those who enter our lives come to make us happy. In fact, most of the time they come to shake us. He saw that shaking as part of the individuation process, the path to becoming psychologically whole. Wholeness includes the parts of yourself you've suppressed, rejected, or ignored. Here lies a paradox. The people who trigger you most are often the ones sent to help you grow. They reflect unconscious content you're finally ready to confront. You may feel as though someone has hurt you, but from a deep psychological perspective, they have brought unresolved inner wounds to the surface. These people do not enter your life randomly. They appear when you're ready to face your shadows, traumas, and reflections, when you're ready to embark on an inner journey. The timing is not coincidental. It's one of the most overlooked signs that synchronicity is at work. You don't recognize someone at just any point in life. You recognize them in moments when you are open, vulnerable, in transition, questioning, or searching. Jung emphasized that when a person reaches a psychological threshold, the unconscious becomes particularly active. During these times, symbolic figures appear in dreams, visions, and yes, other people. Have you ever, right after a major change, encountered someone who reflects the chaos or hope inside you? This is not chance. It's the unconscious calling you to integrate the experience. People appear at the turning points when you are undergoing a psychological shift. They can precipitate collapse or catalyze transformation. Either way, they arrive with purpose. Encounters are mirrors, external meetings that reflect inner conflicts. The soul not only seeks to be known, it wants to be seen, and often uses other people to reveal itself. We are drawn to those who reflect us. The ones who show us what we desire, fear, or need to develop are not what they seem at first glance. Have you wondered why you're constantly drawn to emotionally unavailable partners, or why you repeatedly encounter narcissists, manipulators, or wounded souls? From a Jungian perspective, this isn't just bad luck. These are mirrors, physical manifestations of unresolved unconscious images. You reflect what you carry unconsciously, and often you need a series of experiences with these mirrors before you finally recognize the pattern. Suppose you keep encountering people who abandon you. On the surface, it looks like betrayal, but from the soul's perspective, it may reflect a fear of intimacy or a deep childhood wound of abandonment. These patterns are not punishments, they are psychological messages that repeat until you resolve and understand them. Emotional intensity plays a crucial role. One way to know an encounter is not random is the sheer intensity. If you meet someone and immediately feel connection, disgust, fear, or awe, the meeting is mentally charged. Jung advised being mindful. If someone makes you angry for no logical reason, it may be your shadow reacting. If you instantly idealize them, you may be projecting an inner image. If someone seems strangely familiar, they may be touching a deep archetypal layer in your psyche. Strong emotional reactions are rarely about the person alone. The real issue is what that person represents within you. Such encounters force you to review your story. Chance meetings are starting points. Sometimes we meet someone and everything changes. A teacher says a single sentence and our worldview shifts. A stranger listens to our story. A new friend gives us a book or an experience that alters our trajectory. From the outside, it seems like coincidence. From a Jungian perspective, these are initiations, the beginning of a new psychological chapter. The unconscious speaks through symbols, and sometimes the symbol is a person. You don't always need a dream to talk to your shadow. Sometimes the shadow arrives as a human being. It triggers you, loves you deeply, or abandons you inexplicably. These initiating encounters pull you out of your old self-concept and invite you into a deeper version of who you are. One of Jung's deepest insights is this: your inner world determines whom you meet. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are, both your conscious self and your unconscious parts. If you carry repressed trauma, you may meet someone who brings it to light, not to hurt you, but to make it visible. If you secretly fear being seen, you may encounter someone who leaves you, reflecting that fear. If you're learning self-love, you may meet people who push your boundaries. These are not punishments, but spiritual synchronizations, the meeting of your soul's lesson with another's. Sometimes the other person isn't even aware of the role they play in your growth. In Jungian psychology, people are rarely just people. They carry archetypal energy that fits the psychological process you're undergoing. Common figures include the mirror, who reflects both your strengths and your shadow, the trigger, who elicits your deepest emotional responses, the teacher, who tells you a truth that changes your world, the destroyer, who shakes you out of spiritual stagnation, and the guide, who points you toward healing or awakening. You may be instantly drawn to these people or dislike them at first sight. Either way, the encounter signifies more than mere personality compatibility. The symbolism can be subtle. A friend introduces a book that becomes your new path. A lover confronts your wounds of abandonment. A brief conversation with a stranger becomes a turning point in your timeline. These encounters are visible manifestations of messages from the unconscious. Jung also believed we are not isolated individuals drifting alone. We are part of the collective unconscious, a vast repository of shared symbols, archetypes, and energies. Some encounters are not only personal, they are universal. You may meet someone who represents the wise old man, the trickster, the mother, or the lover. They don't just affect your psychology, they awaken ancient patterns within your soul. This is why some people feel fateful, mythic, or supernatural, and why, when their archetypal role is fulfilled, they often disappear. The relationship ends, the magic fades, the spiritual purpose has been fulfilled. When the lesson is complete, people leave. One of the hardest Jungian truths is this: when people complete their symbolic roles, they depart. We cling to them because of the feelings they evoke, but from the soul's perspective, their mission is complete. You may want the story to continue, but your unconscious no longer needs the lesson they offered. That is why they drift away or leave abruptly. The ego resists this, but the soul knows you received what you needed. The critical question isn't why did they leave, but what did they awaken in me? That question turns pain into alchemy. Viewed through this lens, your past takes on new meaning. The friend who betrayed you taught you boundaries. The ex who shattered your confidence revealed your dependencies. The stranger who comforted you during panic reflected the healer within. Life is not random chaos, but a chain of meaningful, interconnected events. Joseph Murphy's "The Power of Your Subconscious Mind" aligns with this. It isn't the conscious mind, but the subconscious that guides behaviors, choices, and even the people we meet. What you want consciously matters less than what you believe deeply. If you carry beliefs of rejection, abandonment, or unworthiness, you resonate with them and attract corresponding experiences. The subconscious is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant, recurring thoughts, intense emotions, deep-rooted beliefs, grows and becomes your reality. This is where the law of resonance comes in. Your inner seeds emit vibrations that attract matching outer experiences. Relationships, encounters, cycles, none are random, all arise from what resonates within you. The encouraging part is that you can reprogram the subconscious. As you change beliefs and feed your mind new images and emotions, your field changes, and so does what you attract. Most relationships are not based on pure logic, but on unhealed wounds, unresolved parts, or aspects awaiting development. If you feel drawn to the same kinds of people or keep reliving similar events, understanding the power of the subconscious can open a new door. This isn't a superficial self-help slogan. It's a practical way the mind works. When change begins within, the external world shifts. Another important truth: not every relationship comes to complete you. Some simply remind you that you are already complete. Such bonds aren't built on lack. They are grounded in being. They don't feed fantasy or fill voids. They simply exist together, and that alone carries a profound healing power. Healing relationships are not necessarily the most intense or romantic. They are the ones where you can be yourself without pretending, where you are heard, your silence is respected, and your broken pieces are accepted. In these relationships, the other person doesn't try to fix you. They walk alongside you as you rebuild yourself. This awakens what Jung called the inner healer archetype, the energy that emerges when someone listens without judgment, accepts without reshaping you, and can witness your pain without fear. Being with such a person feels like finally landing in a place where you can breathe. Even these relationships can be challenging. True healing doesn't come from comfort, but from presence. Sometimes the person in front of you shows you how far you've strayed from yourself, touching the places you've hidden, not to hurt you, but to make them visible. That openness, held with compassion, begins to rearrange what has been broken. We often expect others to fill us, but in healing relationships, there is no promise of completion. There is reflection, support, and truth. It may be less dramatic, but it is far more powerful because it restores the inner strength that need-based relationships erode. Healing love doesn't promise to save you. It reminds you that you can rebuild yourself. It empowers you to walk consciously. It holds your hand without holding you back. Such relationships don't need to last a lifetime. Some come like a season, warming something inside you, making something bloom, and then they leave. But what they leave behind endures, the lived proof that you can form deep bonds without losing your individuality. They come not to fill a void, but to remind you of what you already have and may have forgotten. With that remembrance, healing begins quietly, not through dependency, but through presence. Each bond awakens something within you, a dormant power, a forgotten wound, a role you never knew. The person in front of you is not just someone, they are an awakener of archetypes. Archetypes are universal structures in the collective unconscious, patterns of behavior and symbolic images we all carry. When someone enters your life, they may awaken the hero, the protector, the rebel, the victim, the sage, or the wounded child. This awakening is usually unconscious, you simply feel it. You feel a need to protect someone or a desire to be saved by them. You feel called to guide, or you realize a space has opened where you can finally be vulnerable. Sometimes you fall in love not with the person but with the role they awaken in you. That's why some bonds feel so intense. They connect you with hidden parts of your soul. These archetypes aren't fixed, they change as the relationship evolves. The same person can make you feel strong one day and bring you to your knees the next. This doesn't mean the bond is false, it means it touches different layers of you. The person is the spark, but the fire is yours. Often what happens is a meeting of inner images. You connect not just with the person in front of you, but with what they awaken, symbolize, and represent in your emotional world. That's why some encounters leave such a deep mark, not because the story is long, but because they awaken a part of your soul that never sleeps again once awakened. It changes how you see, how you connect, how you exist. These awakenings are part of individuation, the journey of becoming yourself. Through them, you gradually realize you are not only who you choose to be, you are also everything you still carry the potential to become. And the person in front of you triggers this becoming. You don't meet people by chance. You encounter mirrors reflecting your fragments, and each one makes you more whole, more aware, more yourself. Not every love must be permanent. Some come to open you, to break you, and even that breaking is sacred. The purpose of some encounters is not to last, but to transform. They come like fire, burning away what no longer serves, and then they leave. They may leave silence, emptiness, and longing, but also space. These shattering bonds are often a necessary break that allows the self to reveal itself. The ego desires permanence and security. The soul seeks truth and movement. When life grows constricted, love can come like an earthquake, an emotional alchemy that reshapes everything within. You think you've lost someone, but what you've really lost is an old version of yourself that no longer fits. You weren't ready to let it go, so the encounter arrived to shake you free. Even if the other person isn't aware of it, the energy of the bond has come for this purpose. A breakup does not mean love was in vain. It may mean it fulfilled its purpose. It revealed what was hidden, idealized, dependent, fragile parts. It shattered illusions so that something new could emerge. It's hard to accept that some stories don't end with a traditional happy ending, but perhaps the happy ending lies in the clarity that remains, the power that emerges, the widening awareness. Every loss is not an end. Some are beginnings in disguise. Jung saw such fractures as part of individuation. Emotional collapse may signal the start of inner alignment. When love breaks, it exposes what is out of tune, laying the groundwork for something more real, more conscious, more whole. Some people love you so much, on a soul level, that they unconsciously accept the task of breaking you out of who you are not. They pull you from a path that no longer belongs to you. They force you to be reborn. Painful as it is, this too is a form of love. These encounters are not mistakes in your destiny, but deep alignments. With emotional maturity, you see that they had to break, because only through that breaking could something more authentic be built. Some people come only for a season. They don't stay, follow, or become part of your daily life. But they leave a lasting mark. They open a door, awaken a dormant part of you, and leave silence that turns to wisdom over time. Not every bond must be permanent. Some are short, intense, perfect cycles. The soul knows certain presences are needed only up to a point. Staying beyond that forces what has already ended. The ego clings. The soul understands. Accepting that a cycle has ended doesn't deny its value, it honors it. You don't need to keep it alive. Forgiveness arises not as excuse, but as liberation. When you forgive, you release the invisible bond tying you to the past. You don't erase what happened, but you stop carrying the weight of what cannot be changed. Forgiveness isn't justifying mistakes or ignoring pain. It's choosing not to feed what makes you sick. It's accepting that you did your best and that the other person did theirs according to their level of awareness. True forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you, the peace you choose to cultivate within. Gratitude isn't romanticizing, it is acceptance. It is recognizing that despite the pain, something changed, something awakened, something matured within you, even if it came with tears and silence. Some people taught you through love, others through absence. All contributed to your journey. Life moves in cycles, and each new relationship brings a new lesson. Some show you what love is, others what it isn't. Some heal you, some break you, but all shape you. When you can feel gratitude, something shifts. Anger dissolves, attachment weakens, and the heart makes room for the new. Not everything must be permanent to be valuable. Sometimes it's enough to say, "Thank you for passing through." Even if they didn't stay, you continue lighter, clearer, more whole. The soul knows that whatever came arrived at the right time and left when the lesson was complete. In the end, almost nothing was a coincidence. Those who came, stayed, and left resonated with what was already vibrating within you. Some arrived gently, some like a storm. Some lifted you, some shattered you. But each touched something inside you, and that touch changed you. They brought what you needed, even when it hurt, felt unfair, or made no sense in the moment. Clarity often comes only after the dust settles. Pain becomes a sign, chaos becomes a story, the other becomes a mirror. Every encounter serves a purpose: to awaken, reveal, teach, challenge, heal, and sometimes to destroy, or all of these together. Recognizing this movement is a sign that something within you is maturing. When you stop seeing people as luck or punishment and instead as parts of your inner process, the story changes. You leave drama behind and move into awareness. The journey is not about controlling who enters or exits. It's about seeing what each person shows you, integrating what is activated, releasing what no longer serves, and making room for what is still forming. The task is not to escape pain, but to give it meaning. Along this path, you saw many pieces of yourself reflected in others' eyes. You recognized yourself in the excitement of beginnings, the pain of endings, the intensity of projection, and the peace of genuine presence. You learned that not every bond must last forever, but every bond can teach you something, and even what seems like loss is often a transition to a fuller version of yourself. The soul recognizes before the mind names, and what looked like coincidence was a reunion with parts of you waiting to be seen, felt, and embraced. You never encountered anyone by chance. Every person was a bridge between who you are and who you could become. Every story left a mark, not a wound, but a map. And now, looking at all you've lived, you can finally say with quiet ease, it was worth it. Because in the end, every encounter was exactly what it was meant to be, a door opening to yourself. See you in the next video. If this helped you become more aware, like and subscribe so I know I'm not alone on this journey. And finally, remember, your path is yours. Everything is in your hands.